Hey folks, Sova here again, with another Project Altirus gameplay update video. This is going to be another one that's more about the show and less about the tell, because not a whole lot's been in the works aside from what you see here. Which, as is evident, is my first attempt at a naval map for Project Altirus, by which I mean a proper naval map, unlike St. Levon. Now, this map's been a bit of a challenge for a number of reasons, chief among them being bot wrangling, which is usually an issue, but Exhibit A, my crew just abandoned ship as soon as they boarded. Let's try that again, shall we? Right, so if I just get these guys in my squad before we embark, they won't pile out the moment they enter the ship. Anyway, as I was saying, yeah, that's one of a host of issues I've been running into. They principally relate to how the AI behaves, but, I mean, that's Ravenfield for you. Maybe this whole I'm gonna make naval battles for Altirus thing wasn't such a good idea, but, you know, hindsight is 20/20. I already committed to it. If you're gonna go to town, might as well go in a Lincoln. So what's our squawk list aside from that? Well, if we have it set to the roam behavior, they'll tend to zigzag around, T-bone each other, and run aground. If they're set to capture, they tend to pile out or sit around at base for pretty much no reason. Now, my original plan was to have points only capturable by boats sort of sitting around here and there, and have it basically be more of your conventional capture, point capture mode, or maybe a King of the Hill. But if a ship captures a point, then its crew disembarks. Or they just sit around at the point and not move anymore. So I'm really not sure. Let's see. Are they all moving? Okay, they're not sitting around. That guy's moving. The other one doesn't have a crew yet. So, limitations I've encountered aside, let's talk about what I have managed to get done. Firstly is aiming artillery on ships. As you can see, my reticle isn't going over the horizon. That's because these sights calculate the fall of shot. Also, it includes a range display, which was in the last update to Ravenfield tools. In addition to that, I think I've showed it before, but there was also the turret slaving system I figured out, and that allows you to aim multiple turrets at once, allowing you to control an entire, well, part of a battery of guns. As you can see in this ship in particular, you're controlling both the A turret and one of the amidships torpedo launchers. See if we can't get close in and demonstrate how those puppies work. Oh. So I don't know if I killed him, or the aft gunner's torpedoes killed him, or the bombers killed him, but either way, he's dead. Now for this guy, please don't torpedo me, please don't torpedo me, please don't torpedo me. You'll have to forgive me if I don't have a whole lot to say. This is why I really want this map to work. Little moments like these really make it. Oh. And there we go. We got torpedoed. I think. I'm not keen on that, sinking physics. By the way, before you say just animate it better, don't think you can actually animate sinking. It's all left to the physics. And I can think of some ideas on how to improve it, but I've yet to try them. So, that's one of a few things that needs looking at. Now, as is abundantly evident, this map needs a lot of work before it's anywhere near completion. Exhibit A, featureless white floating platform. Placeholder, obviously, going to be replaced by a small island with a refitting station or a small flotilla of static cargo ships and a seaplane tender. These planes, the MYS and SBL, replaced with seaplanes, maybe a flying boat bomber. Depends on if I feel like going that far with this. Now, I was going to make it so there was an airfield on the mainland. Might still try that out, but I think first and foremost this needs to be just a trial run. This is a test, a proof of concept to see if, you know, this is an idea that will work in Ravenfield. And so far, doesn't bode well for the whole naval-focused sub-project idea. You know, I got really excited when I found out I could make proper ships and proper ship battles, but when it all comes together, you start to see the cracks form. So the hope is, despite all that, I can still get something working. Aside from that, replacing placeholder stuff, there's things that need refinement. That light cruiser down there still isn't done. I need to finish that. I need to try out sort of other elements to the fight besides just the cruiser and capital ship engagement. I want to see if I can't have coastal boats having at it. There goes the light cruiser. If I can't line up a shot on this big boy. Oh, the bridge is gone. I set it up so that the bridge on the battleship can get taken out, but the destroyed model disappears after a while, so hopefully that's something I can fix. Among a long list of other things. So, hopefully all that works out. And on that bombshell, let's go back to land. Now, besides naval stuff, another thing that needs working on is a vehicle overhaul. I'm probably going to time that with when the vanilla tank, the new one, is added as a prefab to Ravenfield tools, if it ever is. Because it looks like Steel's redoing the way tracks work. Now they're no longer just a scrolling texture. I'm pretty sure you can do tracks like they are on the new tank already, but I'm lazy, and I want other people to figure these things out for me, and give me a prefab to use so I don't have to do any work. So either as part of that overhaul, or something I could release before then, is this little fella. Some of you might remember it. This is the Chell 1. It is a replica of a model made in Gary's mod, and lore-wise is the first mass-production tank to come out of Sylvania, and it's a piece of crap. It was underpowered, it was only crewed by 2 men, and it was not as fast as you might expect it to be. One advantage it did have was that it was small, cheap, expendable, and it could get to places where tanks are not expected to be. So, against poorly equipped personnel, it could, you know, it's still a tank. But then if it was matched up against anything that could counter it, it really had no chance. So this is the sort of thing you might see with police forces later on, particularly the Hetic Republican Army formed after the war, in reserve units during the invasion, and also in numerous variants. Some that I want to make are a flamethrower tank, a mobile pillbox, basically just a machine gun variant, and a self-propelled infantry support howitzer. Now, tank destroyers don't work all that well, as the Taba has demonstrated, but maybe if it had anti-infantry capability, if it fired a high explosive shell, it might work better. So I've yet to see if that works. And I might either tie that in with the upcoming vehicle overhaul to take advantage of the new updated vehicle script in Ravenfield, or I might just release this and maybe a couple extra Hetic vehicles like an anti-aircraft Zav truck as its own thing separately. Oh, that man has an anti-tank rifle. That man also has an anti-tank rifle. Alright, you kids are gonna get it now. Energy shield and autocannon. Go! As you can tell, this stuff is not part of Project Altirus. You can find it on the workshop under the name Bruiser Preview Pack. Because the idea is this is going to be for another project, completely unrelated to Project Altirus, as you could tell. It's either going to be its own thing sooner if I get too frustrated with Empires of the Sea, or later if everything works out and I'm able to make more progress on that front. It's very much a different idea from what I'm working on right now, as you can pretty easily tell. Energy shield and autocannon a superpower does not make. Well, that's all for today, ladies and gentlemen. I'll see you on the next one.